After working with hundreds of clients this year, I've learned something very clear. The difference between people who win and the people who don't has almost nothing to do with intelligence, money, or luck. It comes down to a few behaviors and a few mistakes that repeat every single time. So I want to walk you through the top things that most successful clients do and the top things that quietly sabotage people before they ever have a chance to win. If you hear yourself in this, good. Awareness is the first fix. So the do's, what my best clients consistently do. Let's start with what the winners do differently. 1, they execute before they feel ready. Now, there's this philosophy in the Marines where you get to 80% sure and then you make a decision. You execute. The reason being is there's no such thing as 100% sure, right? We're trying to predict the future based off of current data, but we'll never actually get there if we analyze or analysis to paralysis. If we analyze ourselves to a point where we're stuck thinking about the what ifs, the what if nots, we just have to execute. And the reason being is because as we execute, that's how we learn and iterate. Now, we obviously don't do it blindly, but the winners move with incomplete certainty, but they move with certainty. They don't wait to fully understand everything, but they move with educated journeys, guides, direction, blueprints. They learn by doing, not by over consuming content. E-commerce, for example, is very feedback driven. There is many data points. There are thousands that we try to chunk down into a couple dozen to chunk down into 2 or 3 because we have to know exactly what lever to pull. The market will always teach faster than theory. Momentum creates clarity. Sitting still creates confusion. Number 2, they treat this like a real business. See, e-commerce seems like a side hustle. It seems like, we see a lot of things online about get rich quick or, the 20-something-year-olds all hyped up on Mountain Dew and showing a Lamborghini behind them and, getting all jazzed on jet planes. Champagne and jet planes, that's what I always call it. I think it's a load of crap, and I don't think it's real, and I also don't think it's the lifestyle we're all chasing. I think we're chasing freedom. And freedom comes when we build something of value, and that value allows us time, capital, choices. It allows us the opportunity to continue with our current career and also spend time with our family or transition careers or whatever is in your book of goals and dreams. But we have to create it. The winners schedule work blocks. We don't just sit down and act like we've been busy. We actually schedule work blocks. Now, we operate on a performance day, buffer day, and rest day mindset. You can get that through 10X is easier than 2X. It's a book by Benjamin Hardy. It's amazing. Performance days, we schedule down every week, even if you don't have a 7-day work schedule, which most of us don't. We sit down on, if we know 2 days that we can commit 2 hours, that means that sit down for 2 hours is uninterrupted. Now, it's not clicking around or hopping on social media or, scrolling through stuff. That's execution. Those are performance days. We are executing. We are choosing, complete that task. We are choosing to get that done. Then buffer days is where we sit down and again for an hour or 2 throughout the week, and we make sure that is where we're doing our researching, our learning, our understanding, our setting up for performance days. We need to know what to execute before we obviously execute. And then rest days. And this one is probably the most common overlooked. Don't touch a thing. Now, some people go as far as a lot of people in our community will take what's called a Sabbath or a day off. And there's a reason for that. They literally don't touch their phone from Friday evening to Saturday evening. They are phoneless. They are computerless. They are technologyless because it allows the mind and the soul to break away from the need to solve problems, the need to be in it, the need to get distracted. and it allows then creativity. And creativity is where the best solutions come regardless. Einstein, I believe, and I know he gets credited for lots of quotes that may or may not be him, but I'm pretty sure he did say this, that you cannot find a solution with the same mindset that you were in when you found the problem. Which means when we are growing, iterating, and executing on creating and scaling a successful business, if something hits us or distracts us, let's say, a platform hits us with a red flag or an ad campaign or an inventory issue or whatever, right? I'm just making up problems right now that are very real. If I sit there in my reactive mode, I will not find the solution. I step away, I get into a responsive mode. I think of how to do this diligently without emotion, and then I execute. Deadlines get respected. That means if I set a deadline for myself that I'm going to have this thing done in 1 week, or I'm going to have it done in 3 months, right? We set long-term goals with short-term execution. What that means is I'm picturing, what am I doing 5 years, 10 years from now? What does this business look like in 20 years? That's the goal I'm setting. Then I do short-term execution like my life depends on it. What do I need to do every quarter, every month, every week, every day? And then I honor those deadlines. I do not let things pile up. I don't put it off till tomorrow. Tomorrow is today. Yesterday, tomorrow. Tomorrow's today, right? We can do this left, right, up, down, center. We can talk about when it's better. The best time to execute was 5 years ago. The next best time, it's right now. Next, metrics reviewed weekly. Now, we don't know what we don't know. So if you're watching this and you're hearing this and you're like, I don't even know what metrics to go over, that's where you dive into your buffer days and you figure that out. There is a clear-cut blueprint. All right, you have your goals and your dreams on one side and where you are. There is a clear blueprint to follow. Now, you can either get lost in the YouTube ether, the guesses, or the new shiny things, or, follow the YouTube coaches and all the gurus and everyone. And some of them do have really, really good advice and tools. So be diligent there. But follow the blueprint so that you know what metrics to move. Why? Because those are the ones that tell us what we get to focus on. If let's say I'm selling on Amazon, or I'm selling on my website, or I'm selling on Instagram, and I'm trying to figure out how to double my sales, right? That's every business's dream. Is every quarter we want to double. Every year we want to quadruple, whatever. The entrepreneurial curse. We want to grow faster than our business actually does. If I'm just clicking around, looking at stuff, which is very common, many clients do this, including yours truly. I will do this with my business sometimes. I'll hop in and spend 20, 30 minutes just clicking around, looking at stuff. That was not execution. That was not viewing metrics. That was not figuring out what levers I need to pull. Whereas if I look at the data that's coming back to me on my dashboards, on my reports, am I getting enough people to see the ads? Am I getting enough people to click on the ads? Am I getting enough people who've clicked on the ads to then buy the product? Those are 3 very clear metrics. One should tell me one thing and another should tell me another. That is all I need to know. What metrics am I measuring weekly so that I can execute daily? Decisions made with data, not mood. I cannot express this enough. How many of us, yours truly included, want to fill time with busyness, be efficient, but not effective? That's a big difference. I can efficiently be busy and get nothing done. An example would be time to update my website, or I need to change my brand colors, or man, I should really look into updating my logo, or I really need to focus on, my packaging colors. Did any data tell me that, or is that just stuff that I want to get busy with? Believe it. I've done this. We've all done this. Sometimes it's a good move, but all of those are pretty much distractions. Unless the data is telling you, hey, people are, coming to your website and then not doing anything, clicking off, changing, scrolling by, whatever, after a couple seconds, let's update the website. But we only do it with data. We only do it with a template. We only do it with what is proven to convert. Hobby behavior equals inconsistent results. Business behavior equals predictable outcomes. Now, the easiest metaphor for this is sports, right? Majority of us have either watched it, played it, understand it, etc. One of the simplest ones is basketball. So if I want to learn how to shoot a free throw and I want to make it 90+% of the time, I want to be like the Steph Currys of the world. Do you think if I treated it like a hobby, meaning whenever it's convenient, that I will get around to practicing enough when it's convenient to then become a 90+% free throw shooter? No. But if I treat it like a professional and I put it in my schedule and I honor the deadline and I say, hey, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 8 p.m., I'm going to walk 3 blocks over to the park or to the gym or whatever, and I'm going to take 100+ shots. I'm going to warm up diligently. I'm going to move myself closer to the basket, then farther from the basket, and then go through my form, watch the tutorials, go through the form, watch the tutorials, and practice exactly what I need to practice. That's treating it like a professional. That's paying attention to what metrics I need to pull, right? Maybe I'm not using my legs enough. Maybe I'm, pulling the ball up in an angle versus straight up at the hoop, right? We can dive into this 100 different ways. The point is that are we tracking it? And then are we doing what's called professional or business behavior? Are we executing on a timeline? If you treat it casually, it pays you casually. Number 3, winners ask better questions. Specific is way greater than emotional. I want to know the answers to my solutions. I don't want to try to figure out why I feel a certain way about it. Data-driven questions. How do I double my sales? Not why am I not doubling my sales? Focused on bottlenecks. Bottlenecks is huge. Now, we always think of bottlenecks almost like what's downstream from me that's holding me up, but typically it's at the top, right? Think of a wine bottle or any bottle. The bottleneck is at the top. Who's at the top of your business? You are. I am. So typically the bottleneck is me. And if I need to focus on the bottleneck, that means I probably need to optimize how much I'm executing, how efficiently I'm doing that, what metrics I'm reviewing, etc. Am I honoring my schedule? Am I doing it with the right mindset? So what's the highest leverage move right now? A lot of times I get lost in the sauce. I'll get confused. I'll sit down. I have, the old entrepreneurial curse, or just anyone with ambition or wanting to live a grander life, is we're juggling 100+ things. The point of this is to get to, I need to only focus on 2 to 3 things a day. That's it. If I'm doing any more, I'm setting myself up for failure. So I remember Warren Buffett, I think, has an amazing quote where he talks about, I want you to write down the top 20 things you want to accomplish this year. Then what are the top 5 out of all of those? I mean, the top 5 that would make this year worth telling about. Then get rid of the other 15 with abandon. Do not let the other 15 distract you one bit and only execute on the 5. What winners don't ask, and this is the emotional question, is this normal? Do you think this will work? Precision questions create progress. Emotional questions create delays. Number 4, winners, they follow the process, even when it's boring. There's no skipping steps. I mean, if I want to go the long way, I'll take a shortcut and realize I need to go backwards and then do the normal. That's the longest way there is. There's no such thing as a shortcut. Especially in our program, when we work with clients, we've already executed this down to a very truncated SOP-driven system. And the winners, they follow those steps. They expand on those steps. The clients who are struggling or are frustrated typically have skipped a few steps. And I know this because I'll ask questions that are pretty basic and they don't know what I'm talking about. And I've done this too. So I'm not just speaking to clients or those out there who are frustrated. There are scenarios where I want those results, but I want it my way. And we realize that never works. Never. So if we are wanting to get a proven result, we should follow the proven blueprint. Boring done consistently beats exciting done occasionally. This is not a hobby. Go pro. Number 5. And this one, this is the identity. This is what will make you succeed in whatever you take on. Winners take radical ownership. No blaming platforms, no blaming timing, no blaming tools, no blaming anything but ourselves. Now, this isn't a, hey, I'm going to get down on myself and blame myself for the troubles of the world. No, this is saying, hey, something didn't go right or to planned or how I envisioned it. That's no one's fault but my own. Why? Because as soon as I take radical ownership, I can control the controllables. Responsibility is what creates leverage. So if I have a situation and let's say I'm selling on Amazon and Amazon does this normal Amazon thing where it flags a listing for no reason, or I have a toxic competitor who reports my listing fraudulently. Now I need to combat that. I don't sit there and get frustrated at the toxic competitors. They do what they do, expect it. I don't get frustrated at Amazon. Amazon does what it does, expect it. I realize, hey, this is something that I can change. This is something that I can figure out. I just don't know how to do it yet, and I'm going to learn. I'm going to execute. I'm going to get it done. That is how we keep moving forward. We don't ask why, we ask what needs to get done. Owners ask, what's my next move? Victims wait for conditions to change. So the don'ts, let's go through that. What kills momentum fast? Now, this next part matters more because these mistakes don't feel dangerous while they're happening. They're quiet. They're silent killers. Don't number 1, don't skip steps out of impatience. Rushing launches, this one has been probably the most frustrating one that I've seen, is that clients will get to the point where we've done product discovery, product development, brand development. We've created the brand assets. We've created all the storefronts. The product is sitting in the warehouse and we're ready to launch. And that's when they decide to take their foot off the gas. They just want to get to market real quick and then not touch it. I even had a client 2 weeks into a launch say, oh man, I can't even bear to look at this right now. No idea what's going on there. Whether he's scared to fail, scared to succeed, no idea. That's the time where you should be in it every day, not turning it off. Skipping validation. Now, when we develop products, when we discover products and then develop them, right? Private label business. We're not here white labeling, wholesaling, arbitraging, doing anything. We are creating a private label brand. That means we're bringing something new to market. Now, we're doing this off of millions of data points. We are trusting the data and then iterating what the market is already saying it wants, right? There's thousands of reviews, thousands of Reddit forums. There's McKinsey market analysis. There's up and down, left, right, center, ads, TikTok shorts, whatever. We farm all that data to figure out what products are good to launch with, but then most importantly, how do we improve it? Do not rush validation. That means taking your idea, doing poll tests, running short form ads just to see if you can get interest, running polls. Do you have the right color? Do you have the right size? Did you iterate the functionality of that item well enough? Do not rush to market if you have not validated your product. Now, 80% or 100%. We're never going to be able to validate 100%, but can we validate the 80% and then move and then iterate? That's where we want to get to. And then ignoring early signals. So one of my personal experiences was I had a bag. I essentially had created a tool bag that would be used as a weekend traveler. And while I was getting samples, the product was doing really well. It even got picked up by a TV show. So random, I know. And one of the early signs that I saw, and you would think no duh, but for some reason I overlooked this, is that the shoulder strap broke while I was carrying it one day. And I thought, oh, this might be just a fluke. instead of going into quality control, ensuring that every shoulder strap was secure, ensuring that my manufacturer did not skip any steps, they didn't cut any corners, right? Checking the threading, checking the attachments, etc. Guess what happened? Tons of shoulder straps broke and it killed the product. So do not ignore early signals. The reality check is speed without structure creates rework. Rework costs money. Impatience is one of the most expensive mistakes in business. There is a difference between executing urgently and impatiently. Urgently means I am data driven. Impatiently means I'm emotional, lacking data. Number 2, don't outsource thinking, especially in the day of AI. It should be a tool to elevate your thinking, not outsource it. Do not do blind delegation. And I'm culprit of this all the time. Juggling 100 things, trying to get it down to 2 or 3. And so I just start offloading things or ignoring them. Never does that succeed. If I take 5 minutes, and believe me, that's sometimes all it takes to break steps down into how I need to delegate this or think through it or use my AI tools to help me get to the solution, that is what guarantees success. Following instructions without understanding. So one of the common things that we'll do when we're talking is, you see this all the time, whether it's in person or on a Zoom call or whatever, is we'll share an idea. And then in order to get the person on our same page, because we want to be in tandem during our conversations, right? We want to relate with people, whether it's a friend, a family member, a client, a customer, a partner, whoever. And we'll go, yeah, you get that, right? And then the recipient, 99% of the time, will want to go, yeah, absolutely, to continue the conversation, act like they're keeping up. It's almost as if we're afraid of disappointing or whatever, to say, hold on, no, I don't understand that. Wait a second. Let's go through that a little more. Can you repeat that? Can you say it a little more clearly? That is one of the things I've noticed with my business coach and also with my mentors, is that anytime I ask a question or I'm sharing an idea and it's not clear to them, they don't brush it off. They go, hold on, say that one more time. And what it makes me do is reiterate it clearly to then help them answer my question or help them figure out what I'm going for. It needs to be clear. Avoiding decision-making, that'll kill you every time. Holy cow. Whew. I would say the biggest form of burnout is lacking the ability to make decisions. I think this happens with distracting ourselves too much with social media. And go into your phone settings and figure out how much time you spend on social media a day. I think it's under display and screen or screen time or something like that. Just check out how much you're on your phone. Anytime you're on your phone and it's not using it as a tool, it's just using it as a distraction, that's avoiding decision-making. Or a simple thing like, hey, I need to get a new cupboard for my kitchen or my bathroom. And this is something I just went through. And I'm going through all the options, and 3-4 days in, I'm looking into more options of what cupboard I need for the bathroom. And I already know the data's already there. I know what size, I know what it needs to look like, and I'm comparing options. I'm 3-4 days in. Instead of being just a quick hit, move and go, that took 3 to 4 days of exhaustive decision-making effort. And I only have so many decisions that I can make in a day. That's everyone. Everyone only has a certain amount of decisions they can make in a day. So make the easy decisions easy so that you can focus on the hard ones. Whether it's meal prepping so that you don't need to decide when or where to eat, whether it's laying out your clothes in the morning so that you don't need to decide when and how to get ready. If I'm going to go to the gym, I lay out my clothes before, right? I make the decision easy so that I save in my energy field, I save in my bucket room for being able to attack the decisions that will be difficult, that will demand a lot of my intellect, that will demand my critical thinking. I save that energy for the ones that need it. That way, When I do approach those situations, I'm not reactive, I'm responsive, and I'm responsive with data. I'm also not burned out. I'm not edgy. I'm not short. I'm eager. Because at the end of the day, we want to participate in these big lives. And with big lives, we get to make big decisions. Those are exciting. Those are fun. But if we've distracted ourselves with the uncontrollables, and we've worried ourselves with stuff that doesn't matter, and we've spent too much time avoiding, then we're going to be exhausted. And by that time, we're burned out. And then when it's time to make the right decision, we don't have the energy for it. Why it fails: it creates dependency and it prevents scaling. So you can delegate tasks, but you cannot delegate ownership. Number 3, don't disappear when it gets uncomfortable. That is your sign that you are growing. This is what you ask for. Comfort is the root of not changing. It is the root of not growing. Everything that is growing is dying in some way, shape, or form in order to grow anew. That is never comfortable. Now, you can either approach that discomfort with eagerness, and you can see it again, back to the sports analogy. If I know I'm going to get better and I know I'm going to get stronger, I'm going to enjoy practice and I'm going to enjoy workouts because I know where that discomfort goes. It doesn't make the discomfort more comfortable. It just makes my perspective on it more positive so that I want to endure it. What I don't want to do is go silent or avoid check-ins. If you have a coach, if you have a mentor, if you have a guide, which you better, if you're doing anything in life, you better have some type of blueprint that you're following and someone to hold you accountable. And I do not wait too long to ask for help. I know we want to be doers. I know we want to make sure that we are capable. But the strength is actually in realizing what our weaknesses are so that we can grow those weaknesses into strengths. And we don't get there without asking for help. Silence is usually avoidance, not progress. Momentum dies in isolation. And this comes on the back of the quote that if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, we go together. Number 4, don't chase shiny objects. This one, man almighty, with everything on our phones and computers and new tools and new AIs and new social medias, and God forbid you're in the political algorithms, so you're getting hit with right, left, whatever, extremes, so you feel like everyone's an idiot out there. Don't chase shiny objects. Don't get distracted by what's stimulating. New product every month kind of thing, right? In the e-commerce business, I want to launch this, want to launch that. There's a good idea. How about succeed with the one that you're doing? If you're tired if you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Don't chase that new shiny object. See, there's this curve, this optimism curve, where we have uninformed optimism when we start something. We don't know the pain that's needed to grow through this thing. So we have uninformed optimism. We're eager because we see where it goes. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. We see what the victory looks like. Then we get what's called informed pessimism. It's like, holy cow, I just realized this is harder than I thought. And that's normal. I honestly think that our minds are geared that way so that it will, in a biological sense, encourage us to always evolve, encourage us to always improve. See, if I have uninformed optimism about something, that means that I will start doing it. That means I will do something to improve myself. I will do something to improve others around me. I will do something that will grow who I am into the better version of myself all the time. Every day, in every way, I am getting better. Then we get into informed pessimism. We realize it was harder than we thought. We realize that there's a longer timeline than we thought. We realize that we need to upgrade our own software. We need to upgrade our thought patterns. We need to upgrade our mindset. That takes effort. That takes time, right? If I'm going to pick something new up, probably means I need to put something old down. So that's the point where we need to realize what we're giving up in order to achieve the new thing. But then what comes after that is the abyss. And that abyss, that's where we better be with a community, with coaching, with a blueprint, someone where we know, hey, right here, this abyss, we've kind of lost our motivation because we realize this is a little harder than we thought. Now, if we know how this curve goes, the next thing is called informed optimism, because we know where it goes and we know what it takes to get there. But this abyss right here is where everyone gives up. It's because it's too hard, whether or not we want to admit it, or it's too complicated, or I don't think I have the skills. The shift on perspective is one, is we decide, hey, I knew this was coming. It comes with every new thing that I try. So I don't have the skills yet. I'm going to lean into the blueprint. I'm going to lean into my community. I'm going to lean into those that I've brought into my mission to hold me accountable, to get me through the abyss so that I can keep the momentum going, right? Momentum is created by consistent small actions. Just keep moving. Literally, Dory in Finding Nemo had it right this whole time. Just keep swimming. That's all you got to do. You'll make it through. New strategy before mastering the last. That one I'm guilty of too. If we haven't seen the first one to totality, how do we know it even works or doesn't work? We don't. So don't give up until you're done. And what you realize is you never did give up. You kept going. You kept moving. You kept growing. The reality is that focus compounds. Distraction resets progress. Focus is a profit multiplier. Distraction is the biggest tax of all. Number 5, don't wait for confidence. I think motivation and confidence are a myth. I think they hit us early on when we want to try something new just to get us into the field, into the arena. But what creates real motivation and confidence is actually data, action, which creates momentum, which creates confidence, which creates motivation, not the other way around. See, a lot of us think, yours truly included, that I need to feel motivated and I need to feel confident about doing the task at hand in order to do the actions, which will then create momentum. But actually, I just need to do the actions, which will create momentum, which then will give me the confidence and motivation to keep doing it. So even when you don't feel like it, stick with the plan. Always. Fear doesn't disappear first. Movement does. Always keep moving. Everything about us says that we should always be moving. If we sit and don't move, we wither away and die, physically, biologically. If we do that mentally, if we stop learning, our brains wither away and die. If our energy, if we don't get out and use it, if we don't exercise, guess what? We get less of it. Movement is key, whether it's physical, mental, spiritual, always keep moving. So remember, confidence is earned in motion, not in thought. It's by the doing. If you recognize yourself in the don'ts, that's not a problem unless you ignore it. Every person I've seen succeed made these corrections. Every person who stalled did not. Now, the difference here, right, is there's no end to that. The only way you fail is by quitting, and we are not quitters. So you might be on the optimistic side of the curve, or you might be on the pessimistic side or the abyss. The point is just keep moving. The only way you fail is by quitting. And if you want to succeed, you never quit. The system works. The question is whether you're willing to work the system.